Welcome back. It's a beautiful morning, and I have here a jar of coffee cherries that I soaked. A lot of people said, soak the coffee cherries, and they sent me to articles and videos where people soaked coffee cherries in order to make them soft enough so the beans come out easily. Well, I soaked them for a day, and they were still hard. And then I soaked them for a couple of days, and they were still hard. Now I've soaked them for a week. I find that this method of soaking it obviously does not work all that well on Liberica coffee like these are. I mean, they're smashable, but I don't know that it's better than the biting method for these. If you can call the biting method a method. So I think that probably the big board smashing method might be better. These are not easier, though. This actually does smell kind of interesting, kind of winey, but I tasted it and it's not really very good. Tastes sort of like really thin beer with cough syrup in it, something like that. Does not taste like coffee. But I guess that this soaking thing, scratch that one off. It does not work. It does not help. These are not like nicely squishing it out, and I've soaked it for a week. So no, this is why we do science, because people will tell you things that you have to try over and over and over again. Like, people are always telling me, plant comfrey. You have to plant comfrey. Comfrey is the best permaculture plant. It's like, I don't know anything about permaculture after having written books and been doing it for a decade. But no, comfrey does terrible in the tropics in general. It did terrible for us in Florida. So no, I'm not gonna plant any comfrey, because if I have to baby a plant to keep it alive, then it's not the kind of chop and drop fertilizer plant that I want. So the same thing with the coffee cherries. It may be that Arabica berries do well at this, but Liberica definitely do not do well with the soaking method. So back to the drawing board. I just wanted to give you an update and show you that it is a pain in the neck to do it this way. I've been trying the board method again, the crushing board method thing, and it's working better, probably because I'm using an actual piece of wood, whereas before we had two plastic pieces, and I think they just didn't grab the cherries and crush them. And I think these cherries are a little softer from having been soaked. So it's working. It's faster than biting them. So I'd say it's at least partly successful, but there's probably an easier way still to do this. So what you have to do is, once you smash them, you take the husks, or the fruit part off, I guess, and then make sure you don't have any beans left jammed inside of them, and separate them out. These fruit husks here that I've split off are going to be used to be made into a custom fertilizer for my coffee seedlings. I'm going to do the Jadam style thing and mix these with leaf mold, and then ferment them down for a few months and use them for a liquid fertilizer to give back to the coffee. And these I've been splitting out pretty quickly here. It's still time consuming to process coffee, but we're getting there. The soaking may not work, but the board method is helpful. So, you know, I'm gonna end up with coffee without having to spend a couple of days to make coffee this time around, and we'll keep getting better at it. We never had the opportunity to grow much coffee before we were here. I just grew it along the back wall of my house, as I show in the book Push the Zone, and I grew it in my greenhouse. But what I did was I always planted all of the beans, because I had a better profit margin selling coffee seedlings, because everybody wanted to grow coffee, than I did roasting them. Like, each handful of coffee beans, you have to have fresh coffee beans to plant, every handful of coffee beans there, I could roast it and turn it into a cup of coffee, which was a really cheap use for it, or I could sprout each coffee bean, grow them up for 6 months, and sell the little plants for $6 to $8 a piece. So, you know, this much was like a few $100s worth of coffee seedlings, or this was a 50-cent cup of coffee. So it just really didn't make any sense. So we're learning as we go along, and you can watch us. I'm going to plant coffee everywhere once I settle down on where I'm going to have land, and we'll get really good systems over time. In case you haven't done so recently, check out the website thesurvivalgardener.com, where I post every day and sometimes 2 times a day or more. I've got so much inspiration and so many different articles there that I've gathered from all over the place. There's a lot of information, and it's quite entertaining, so check that out, thesurvivalgardener.com. We're going to see how things go with the coffee, but it'll get better over time. I'm sure of it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, may your thumbs always be green. Maybe I can try garlic press. Maybe I can sort of smash them in it. See if that... sort of... almost like teeth. I'll put 2 in at a time. Oh, they're smushing. There has to be a better way.